Those of you in white clean suits are developed class.
This guy, I said, what do you do for a living there, sir? You know, if you don't mind me asking. You know, what do you do for a living? So he says to me, he says, I'm a professor of logic. He says it's a kind of a pattern of syllogistic, well, he says it's hard to explain. He says, why don't I give you an example? So I said, fair enough, why don't you do that? So the guy says, well, he says, let me ask you a question. He says, do you own a doghouse?
We're why wolves.
I said, yes.
Creatures possessed by the spirit of inquiry. Creatures possessed by the spirit of inquiry.
Please, save your questions until the end of the lecture.
Well, I said, good God, isn't that something? He says, well, then that means you probably have a dog.
Let me put it this way. Have you ever heard of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates? Yes? Morons. Red.
He says, well, that means you're likely to have a family if you have a dog. I said, yes, I do.
I do it again, too. I do it over and over again. That's my life, over and 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 over.
Okay, Craig, I get the point.
No, you don't!
Pretty sweet ride up until that point.
He said, well, then that means you got kids, you're married? I said, yes, I am. He says, well, then you're a heterosexual man. I said, yes, sir, I am.
Now, a clever man would put the poison into his own goblet, because he would know that only a great fool would reach for what he was given. I'm not free, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you. But you must have known I was not a great fool. You would have counted on it, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
He says, well, you see, that's logic there. I asked you simply from finding out you had a doghouse, I made this series of inferences, and I found that you're a heterosexual man, simply from the fact that you had a doghouse.
Creatures possessed by the spirit of inquiry.
If you're talking about the code adjustments you made after I reprogrammed your brain with my nanobot, I'm immune to your nanobot. You're immune to the ones you designed, not mine. I programmed you to build nanobots that were ineffective on me. I believe that needed to be placed in your head by my nanobot. I believe that because I programmed you. That's what I'm saying to you, though. You believe what I programmed you to believe. Yes, because I programmed you to believe that. 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 What's happening?
You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The land war in Asia. What's the place like the less well-known is this? Never go in against the Sicilians when death is on the line.
They said he's a professor of logic down at the University of...
Developed class.
And so the guy says, is that so? He says, professor of logic. He goes, what the hell is that, logic? I said, well, it's a series of Scylla something or other.
Right.
I said, I can't remember exactly, but I said, I'll give you an example if you want to hear an example.
Yeah.
So the guy goes, all right, fair enough. So I said, let me ask you this. I said, let me ask you a question. Do you own a doghouse? And the guy goes, no, I don't own a doghouse. So I says, the guy says, oh, yeah, you're one of them gays.